and welcome to Announcing the Game, where professional public address announcers share their expertise and best practices to help to make you a better public address announcer. I'm Tom Winnicky. I've announced at the high school level at Fayetteville Manlius High School in New York State, and at the college level at Syracuse University of the Atlantic Coast Conference, and at Colgate University of the Patriot League. I've even been able to announce international competition in women's basketball and women's ice hockey. I also announced the New York State Public High School Athletic Association state championships for girls lacrosse and for football. And I'm also the National Association of Sports Public Address Announcers Announcer of the Year for 2017. In this episode of Announcing the Game, I'm going to talk to you about national anthems. What we'll cover can be applied both to high school and to college games. We'll go over a bit of the history of how the national anthem came to be played at sporting events, protocols surrounding the anthem, and ways to ensure that it goes off without a hitch. You may have heard me say that my goal when I walk into a facility is for the person in charge of organizing the event to see me come in and immediately think that they don't have to worry about me at all. Of all the things that they have to worry about on game day, I don't want to be one of them. I want them to take me off of their "I need to worry about this" checklist. One way is to be prepared. Well, let's take a look at how you can be that person when it relates to the national anthem, so that event supervisor doesn't have to worry about it. Now, let's start with a bit of history. As far back as I was able to find, the first documented playing of an anthem for a sporting event was May 15, 1862. Now that was during the Civil War. It was played to dedicate Brooklyn's new Union baseball grounds. But it didn't really start to take hold until Game 1 of the 1918 World Series between the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago Cubs. Now, the crowd at the game was in a somber mood. Now, you have to remember that the country at the time was in the middle of fighting World War I, and to that date had lost over 100,000 soldiers. Now, there were no sound systems at the time, so if teams wanted music, they had to hire a band, which was very expensive. As a result, music was only played at special occasions like opening day, or in this case, Game 1 of the World Series. Now, that band that was hired for this game played the Star-Spangled Banner during the 7th inning stretch. One Red Sox player, third baseman Fred Thomas, who happened to be in the United States Navy and who was granted a furlough to play in the World Series, instantly snapped to attention. Now, some in the crowd noticed and they joined in, as did players from both teams. Now, when the series moved to Boston, the Red Sox, after seeing the reaction in Chicago, hired a band to play in their games, and the song began to take off. Now, the Star-Spangled Banner was officially named our national anthem in 1931. It became a regular occurrence in baseball, and its spread was helped through the 30s and 40s by the development of those electronic public address systems, and it was popularized by the patriotism leading up to and during World War II. During World War II, baseball games became a de facto place to exhibit large-scale patriotism, and after the war, it just became part of the fabric of baseball. Post-World War II, it had become expected, and if it wasn't played before a game, the people complained. By the end of World War II, NFL Commissioner Elmer Layden ordered that it be played before every football game, and from there it spread throughout other sports quickly. Everything after that, they say, is history. When it comes to actually announcing the national anthem, it's pretty straightforward. If it's just the United States national anthem, I like to be as official as I can. If given the choice, I will cite military protocol, which states that the anthem is to be played once per event. Now, if it's a single game, that's easy. The event is that one game, and it's introduced before that game. If a second game is scheduled for the same game site, but the arena is cleared, closed, and then reopened for a second game, that second game is considered its own event, and the anthem is played again for that second game of the day. Now, if on the other hand, a second game starts right after the conclusion of the first game and the arena stays open, protocol says that the anthem should not be played for the second game. Now, you'll see this a lot in games that you announce in tournament settings. When this happens, before the second game, I like to say something like this. Due to protocol set forth by the United States Armed Forces, the national anthem is deemed to be played once per event. Today's, and then you insert the sport or the number of games in succession that it is, this basketball doubleheader or this tournament tripleheader, is that one event. Therefore, the national anthem will not be played for today's second game or for today's third game. Thank you. And I just leave it at that. Now, saying that, I've never had any pushback from fans or coaches. In fact, I've had coaches who either were in the military or who had family in the military, as well as military members in the crowd, actually stop me and thank me for making that announcement and honoring that protocol. Now, I have another story related to this. I'm in central New York State. When I used to announce high school sectional games, when there was more than one game played in succession at the same site, I got to talking to an athletic director at a school that was close to a United States military base. We got talking about the national anthem at sporting events, and he shared that when he was first hired, he was talking to a high-ranking officer at that base, and he was told in no uncertain terms that the national anthem was to be played only once. Now, in my research, I found something called Section 3 of the United States Code that states that during the national anthem, people should stand at attention and face the flag with their right hand over their heart. If you have a hat, you should take it off. So, as I said a minute ago, I want to be as official as I can. So when I introduce the national anthem, I say, ladies and gentlemen, we now ask that if you are able, to please rise and please remove your caps as you face our flag with your right hand over your heart, as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. What if two national anthems are supposed to be played before a game? Now again, I'm from the Northeast, so I see this a lot at collegiate and professional ice hockey games. Protocol says that in these cases, when the games are played in the United States, the foreign anthem is played first. Then the United States national anthem is played immediately following the completion of the first national anthem. You, as the public address announcer, need to know this. So when you announce the anthems, you clearly state that the American national anthem will immediately follow the foreign anthem, in this case for ice hockey, the Canadian national anthem. You would say something along the lines of, ladies and gentlemen, we now ask that, if you are able, to please rise and please remove your caps as you face our flags with your right hand over your heart, as we honor both Canada and the United States with the playing of O Canada, followed immediately by the Star-Spangled Banner. I've worked tournament situations with multiple games back-to-back, where the event supervisor says that they want the national anthem played before every game, saying they just feel it's important to play it each time. You know, I or you may not agree with it and can cite to them all the protocol that we want. But the bottom line is, it's their event, and they handle it the way that they see best. We can offer our input, but remember, we are part of a team at these events. We aren't the ones ultimately making these types of decisions. Ever hear these before? Luck favors the prepared.
What on earth do you think the baby will be doing?
Well, I'm sure I don't know, darling. Luck favors the prepared.
Luck is the residue of design, and my dad's favorite. I'd rather be lucky than good. Remember, at the beginning of this tutorial, I said that I wanted to be that person that the event supervisor didn't have to worry about. So let's talk about that some more in terms of your preparation, specifically for the national anthem. Now, no matter what the copy says for the introduction of the national anthem or anthems, make sure to go over it before you get to the game site. no matter if it's a high school, college, or even a professional game or games, get this script emailed to you a few days before the games. If it's for the high school, contact the school's athletic director. If that director doesn't have a specific script for the national anthem, then come up with one yourself. Now, you've heard what I like to do. Use it if you like it. If you have something else that you feel respects the flag and country, then do that. If it's college or for a professional game, contact the marketing department. See what they want read. Now, I've found that no matter the level, the game officials want to know what the pregame routine is. I, as the public address announcer, like to approach these people and let them know how it'll go. Now, in most instances, the anthem comes right away. Some places have a welcome to the arena read first, followed by the national anthem. Some arenas may want the anthem played first, then followed by a welcome read and then the starting lineups. In multiple game situations, they may want the anthem played just for the first game, or they may want it played for every game, as we mentioned earlier. Our job is to know what is scheduled to happen and when. Find out what that is and relay it to the game officials. Now, I found this especially effective when announcing high school games. As the PA announcer, don't be afraid to take charge a little bit with things like this. The officials will appreciate that professionalism and that courtesy. Now, at the college level, things are more structured, with coordinating with television. The anthem may be scheduled to play before television even goes live. There may be a pregame meeting with event staff and officials that covered this already, but it's always a good idea to check in with the officials to make sure they know how the game will begin. Now, aside from the officials, it's also important that the coaches understand the pregame schedule. Now, their primary focus on game day is to get their team ready to compete, so informing them of the pregame routine is also important, now especially at the high school level. And at this level, again, as the PA announcer, take charge a little bit. When you're with them getting their starting lineups, take that opportunity to fill them in on the pregame routine, including the national anthem or anthems. Again, they'll appreciate this bit of professionalism coming from you. Now, at the college level, it's different. Everything is on a timing sheet, that script that is distributed to all concerned. That spells out when everything is done for that game or games. Now, even then, you may want to check in with the officials just to make sure that they understand the pregame routine. Many times, there's a singer or a band that will play the national anthem. Now, they need to be filled in on when they'll need to perform, especially at the high school level. Now, I always find this person pregame and go over with them how it will go. I start by having them pronounce their own name to me or the name of their group. Then I say it back to them so they know and I know that I've got the name correct. I bring them over to where the microphone is. Now, if it has a cord, I show them exactly where they will stand. I'll tell them when I need them back to me and show them on the pregame clock how much time they have to warm up their voice before they have to be ready to perform. I'll go over with them what they'll hear me say to introduce them. Then I'll tell them after I introduce them and hand them the mic that it'll be hot, that it'll be on. I want them to know that the mic will be on when they get it from me. They're probably a little nervous, so they don't need to remember whether they need to turn the mic on or not. Now, if it's a wireless mic, I still go through that same routine, where they need to stand on the field or on the court, where they will face and when they need to be there, and what they will hear me say to introduce them. Then finally, remember to tell them who to give the wireless mic to when they're done. Now, this last part is easy to overlook. We're so caught up in getting them ready to sing that we forget to tell them who to give the mic to when they finish. It sounds simple, but it's kind of important. Now, even at the college level, I like to meet the singer or band pregame to go over the pronunciation of their name or names, where they're from, how old they are and where they go to school if they're a child, and whether they're an alum of the home team's university or not if they're an adult. All good things to know when introducing these performers. I do have one good story that I'd like to pass on related to the national anthem that happened at a high school basketball game that I announced. It was a military appreciation game. Now, the school had arranged for a local college's ROTC color guard to present the colors. Now, I had found out beforehand that the protocol was when the flags marched in, the crowd was to all stand and be quiet. I went around through the bleachers before the game to students and parents that I knew, explaining this procedure and to ask them to pass it around to the people around them. One student, in fact, was going to West Point, so I made sure to get to him first. Well, when the colors marched in, you could have heard a pin drop. The students and parents in attendance were perfectly quiet when they stood as the colors were marched into mid-court. Now, I introduced the national anthem, and everyone was facing the flag with their hands over their hearts. When the national anthem was concluded, the crowd just exploded. It was really impressive. Now, as a retired teacher myself, it was also a good lesson for everyone, young and old, to see. There will always be someone who won't stand. We aren't there to force our beliefs on anyone. That's why I like to begin by asking them that if you are able, to please rise. Now, I do this for handicap fans, but if someone's beliefs won't let them stand for the anthem and they're not able, well, that's up to them. But I've still invited them to stand. We aren't there to force anyone to stand for the national anthem. We are there to present a respectful environment for the national anthem and what it stands for. With the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, the decision to play it, quite honestly, is made by people above our pay grade. It's not our decision whether to play it or not. It is our job, though, to introduce it both respectfully and professionally. When it is to be played, I treat it the same as multiple national anthems. I would introduce them together, similar to my previous example from ice hockey games. To ask everyone to please rise, and please remove your hats, as you face our flag with your right hand over your heart for the singing of Lift Every Voice and Sing, immediately followed by the Star-Spangled Banner. You may be given a specific script to read when introducing the national anthem, or you may be asked to come up with one. Now, you've heard the one I like to use, but feel free to come up with one that you're comfortable with and is approved by your site's administrator. It could be something that says, to please stand and honor our freedoms and those who protect it. Or it could be something as simple as, please rise for the playing of our national anthem. My point is to come up with something that's both respectful and effective. At the high school level, that can be you and the athletic director. At the college level, that's more likely the marketing department, as part of them putting together the game scripts and timing sheets. Well, I hope this was helpful and got you a bit more comfortable as you prepare to announce the national anthem for sports. Remember, if we're prepared and we announce it respectfully, no matter how it's phrased, we'll be just fine. Feel free to send any constructive comments to my email address on the screen. And don't forget to browse the website, publicaddressannouncer.org, for more information and handy resources. So thanks for watching Announcing the Game, and I look forward to hearing you on the mic.